Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, if you're a listener that wanted to come to our event on Thursday to launch the podcast network and you filled out the form and you have not received an email, can you please check your spam? Because Annabelle has been sending out the emails and she needs the RSVPs ideally today, tomorrow at the latest. So please check your spam. Even if you can't come anymore, please just let us know. And if you are a listener that does want to come and you haven't RSVP'd yet, let us know. And you can also bring a +1 if there is room. So please respond to Annabelle's email, check your spam. All right. Let's get into the stories for today. Okay, the first story that I have for you guys is that Tana Mongeau has opened up about fan behavior at music festivals and what she would have to spend to go to Coachella safely. On the most recent episode of the Canceled podcast, Tana Mongeau talked about why she's hesitant to go to Coachella or really any music festival again. Okay, quickly, before we get into the story on the topic of the Canceled podcast, Tana and Brooke are coming to Australia on the Canceled podcast tour, and we are trying really hard to get an interview with them on our podcast to promote the tour. Of course, they are problematic girlies, but I don't know if there is anyone more relevant to interview on our specific podcast than Tana Mongeau. So with that being said, can you guys leave a comment on either Spotify or YouTube and let us know how relevant it would be to have them on the podcast? Because we are fighting for our lives right now, trying to prove that it's not like a conflict of interest. And honestly, that is like the nicest thing that anyone has ever thought about my brand. It's like the most flattering thing ever. What a compliment that people are thinking that like Tana and Brooke coming on my podcast would be like a conflict of interest for like us to promote their podcast tour. Anyways, I can't think of a more relevant platform for Tana and Brooke to promote their Australian podcast tour on a podcast specifically about creators and internet culture news. We cover Tana and Brooke so much on this podcast. Like, I truly cannot imagine a more relevant place for them to come. And yeah, we are like fighting for our lives to prove that. It's like story of our lives. Story of our lives. As an independent media brand, story of our lives. But if you guys could comment, please, like then we can send it to management and like whoever is making these decisions and be like, see, it is super relevant. It's not a conflict of interest. You think my podcast is a conflict of interest with Tana Mongeau's Canceled podcast? That is like the craziest compliment of all time. But I can't stress enough that it's not. Okay, obviously, Coachella is soon, and Tana was saying that if she was going to attend this year, it would cost her $17,000 to do it the way she wants. And after Brooke and Paige kind of pushed her to expand, she said that a huge chunk of that cost would come from her needing to hire security to feel safe.
I totaled up what my absolute minimum Coachella spend this year would be, and it's like $17,000.
That's fucking
and it's
absurd.
like
I'm just gonna go out on a whim and say that's not your minimum spend. Like, I think you could definitely do it cheaper than $17,000.
I know. I guess you're like maybe 14.
But like if she wants to do it Tana style,
Yeah,
like
okay, but
maximum
you-
comfort,
I
security.
also, that's the thing is the bodyguard. I love my fans. I wouldn't change anything in the world, but anytime I've done any music festival without a bodyguard, I get touched in places I don't want to get touched.
You get fucking
like,
berated.
I
dude.
really do. Like, people
Yeah.
love to just grab my holes, my orifices, and I don't know what it is.
Wasn't it last Coachella someone just came up to you and they were like, Tana, like grabbed your tits and was like shaking them?
100%, and just it's always the headlock, and and then it's like, yes, all my friends can go, and like then their job is to help me like protect myself in a way, but that's no fun for everyone with me then, and then no one wants to be
And
around me.
Also, it's like, what am I gonna do? Like, try to fend someone off who's like on Molly, rolling and drunk as fuck, trying to like say hi to you. No one's gonna take me seriously. You need like a big security guard.
And then that's an artist pass for them, and then the rate of them, and then I don't know it. And obviously, yeah, I could just not do that, but I don't feel safe.
Okay, so I get that Tana is really open with us, so it kind of feels like we already know so much about her and she's so like emotionally vulnerable with us. I imagine for fans, it doesn't feel like a huge breach of privacy to touch her if you see her in a crowd or something. But like, we need to stop touching celebrities. We need to stop touching influencers. We need to stop touching baby bumps. Just threw that in there. It's rogue, but we need to. Don't touch random people, especially strangers. And even though you know who Tana Mongeau is, she doesn't know who you are. So keep that in mind before you go up to like a celebrity or an influencer or a baby bump to touch it. I think it's just so inappropriate. It's so invasive. And just because Tana or other influencers like spill their heart outs to the camera and upload that on the internet doesn't mean that their fans are entitled to treating them however they want. And I'm interested to hear the response to this clip because last year when Chappell Roan said something similar to her fans and was basically like, Tana actually didn't say this to her fans. She was just like, I love my fans, but like, people touch me and it's invasive. You know, Chappell was specifically being like, do not come up to me, don't touch me, you know, don't ask for photos, like whatever. And I would say the general consensus amongst her fan base was pretty positive. Like people really understood where she was coming from and they backed that. But I think sometimes there is not that kind of grace for an influencer. So I'm interested to see what the reception is to this, but I completely get why she would want security. Who wants to be touched by random strangers, especially all weekend at something like Coachella? Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is that Sydney Sweeney is about to star in a Reddit story being turned into a movie. I am obsessed with this crossover of worlds for us. So Warner Brothers has won the rights to a film about a viral Reddit story posted 4 years ago, and it will star Sydney Sweeney. The story was posted on the r/no sleep subreddit, which is like I think they called it creepypasta subreddit, by an English teacher, Joe Coate, in 2021. And the story is titled, I Pretended to Be a Missing Girl So I Could Rob Her Family. The short story follows a girl who pretends to be the missing daughter of a grieving family so she can infiltrate the family and steal from them. It's kind of giving Orphan. I can't even tell you guys, like, The Orphan was one of the formative movies for me. I watched it when I was at my cottage. I think I was like 10. I don't even know. I was young when it first came out, and my best friend would always come up every summer to spend a week with me at my cottage, and we would have like the best week ever, like all these sleepovers, and we would always go to the drive-in. And we went to the drive-in, and it was like a 60s drive-in. Like it was such a vibe. And we watched The Orphan, and I remember it was like one of the first years that we were old enough where my mom would let us stay for like the double hitter. Like, you know, usually when you're younger, you go for like the first movie and it's like more of a kid's like family-friendly movie. And then it would be like a scary movie or an action movie or something after. And so this was like the second movie and we got to stay. And I just remember like my best friend and I going back and like having a sleepover on like the screened-in porch at my cottage and just being so scared that The Orphan, what was her name? It wasn't like Annalise, but it was something. I forget. Anyways, that The Orphan was gonna like pop up. It's just like one of my formative memories. Okay, so the author of this Reddit story, Joe Coate, said that the story is entirely fictional. And he's also been brought on to be an executive producer. And he did give some quotes to some news outlets. And he was like, what the hell is happening? When he said that he found out that studios were reaching out to him, he was like, what is going on? I think this is so cool. Like, how cool is it that you just post a story on Reddit? Like you do some creative writing, you post it on Reddit, and now Warner Brothers has paid you for the rights to make this. You know, the internet has done some really bad things, and Reddit can be a really bad place, but this is one of like the best types of stories to come out of the internet and social media and forums and Reddit in general. Like these kinds of stories make it feel worth it, like sometimes. Okay, the next two stories that I have, I'm sorry, you guys. These stories are just so nothing, but it was a slow news day in internet culture creator news. So, Alix Earle has responded to rumors that her boyfriend, Braxton Berrios, has been texting his influencer ex. So, yesterday, Alix and Braxton went on live, and during it, Alix made a shady comment saying that Braxton's ex was hitting him up today. So, everyone immediately thought that it was Sophia Culpo. Sophia and Braxton dated right before Alix and Braxton dated, and Sophia has been quite vocal about like alluding to the fact that Braxton cheated on her with Alix Earle. So fans have been sending Sophia, I guess, some hate because everyone thought that Alix was referring to Sophia, saying that she was hitting him up. But Alix has addressed this, and she wrote in a comment on TikTok, "I was making a joke about it. There is nothing bad going on, and it's no one that anyone knows. So please don't attack people." I understand Alix probably feels like she doesn't owe Sophia anything, especially if Alix truly, I mean, if they didn't have an affair, but also if she doesn't believe that she did anything wrong with Sophia and Braxton. And yes, like Sophia has gone on many a public platform and talked about how they had this like affair or like cheated on her. So like I get that Alix probably doesn't have the best feelings for Sophia, but I also just think like knowing the like love triangle between them and the discourse, it still hasn't calmed down. I understand largely because of Sophia, but still the fact that she would say that on live, especially if it's not about Sophia, I feel like is just messy. Okay, and the next story that I have for you guys, I don't have anything to say about this, but Jake Paul got engaged to Olympic speed skater Yuta Leerdam. I fear for this woman. I don't know how you could be an Olympic athlete who is also so hot and you choose to spend your life with a man like Jake Paul. I'm scared. I'm scared for her. He is a bad man. Also, their engagement pics and stuff, like they are both wearing full white. Like there's no way that this was not, in my opinion, staged or planned. I don't know. Jake Paul's engaged. Okay. Someone check on Tana. Okay, guys. That's it for Mini Scroll today. I love you guys. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Please subscribe to High Stakes as well and rate them. Annabelle will talk to you tomorrow, and I will talk to you on Thursday, which is also the launch of High Stakes. Okay, bye.